Casino Royale. Now, Casino Royale was released in 2006 and is directed by Martin Campbell and stars Daniel Craig in his first outing as a iconic character, James Bond. The film also stars Eva Green, Mads Mikkelsen, with Jeffrey Wright and Judi Dench. And basically, the film follows James Bond, this time played by Daniel Craig, as he goes on his first mission as a 007 to go and stop the funding of terrorists by beating Mads Mikkelsen's big bad Bond villain at a poker game. But then, at the same time though, Eva Green's Bond girl is thrown into the mix of everything as Bond starts to develop a bit of a personal affection for her. And that's basically the plot of Casino Royale. But I'm going to be honest here, the plot doesn't really matter for this film. Because actually what makes Casino Royale work is its execution, is Martin Campbell's brilliant direction, it's his terrific performances, and the fact that this film is just so enjoyable to watch, and honestly, such a fantastic film. Honestly, it really is, and it caught me off guard by how good it actually really was, especially after watching Die Another Day as my last Bond film, and that one not being that good. However, even so, I do like Casino Royale quite a lot. I will admit, I do still have big problems with it. Two big problems in particular. My first big problem with this film is that I don't really feel that the story is that good. I don't feel the film has a really compelling story, and I don't know, the story just feels quite generic in the end. It just feels quite like a generic Bond story, or a generic spy story for that matter. It doesn't really feel that interesting on itself. Like, if you just told me the plot of the film, I really wouldn't be interested in watching it, but actually what makes it work is execution and everything like that. But the plot in itself just, I don't know, it doesn't make me excited when I hear about the plot and everything. I mean, in the end, the way Bond has to defeat Mads Mikkelsen's big bad Bond villain is at a poker game. It's really not that interesting, but actually, you know, the execution's a lot better, but just on the surface, I don't think the plot is that good. But that's just me. And at the same time, though, my second big problem to this film is that, I'm going to be honest here, I didn't really buy the relationship between Daniel Craig's Bond and Eva Green's Bond girl. I didn't really buy the chemistry between those two characters in the film, and I felt that some of the dialogue between those two actors was a bit stilted when they were on screen together. Like, they're both fantastic in the film. I mean, Daniel Craig is brilliant, and so is Eva Green as well. But I didn't always buy that relationship when I was watching it on screen. I don't know, I thought it could have been done a bit better. I didn't really feel it was that realistic. And also, there's one scene towards the end of the film where basically Bond is typing in his resignation and everything, and he's sending it off to Judi Dench and everything like that. And, you know, he's sending off his resignation because he wants to retire from being a spy so he can settle down with Eva Green's Bond girl. And just like that, it's towards the end of the film, by the way. This isn't really a huge spoiler, but it kind of is at the same time. But just like that, you know exactly what's going to happen to that storyline at the end of the film. You know exactly where that storyline's going after he sends off his resignation. You know exactly what's going to happen to Eva Green's Bond girl. Not to get too much away there, but you might have guessed already. And it's just a bit like I didn't really believe in that relationship at the end of that storyline in the film, and I just think that was a bit of a letdown, I'm not going to lie, because it's such an important part of the film, because the film focuses on it so much. And like I said before, Eva Green and Daniel Craig are both great in the film, but I just felt like when they were on screen together, I didn't really feel that chemistry personally, and at the same time though, I did think some of the lines of dialogue between those two characters when they're talking to each other were a bit stilted, and not as realistic as it could have been. However, saying all that though, I think Casino Royale is absolutely brilliant. Honestly, I was surprised by how much this film really worked to me. What made it work more than anything was its execution, was its direction, was its action sequences, which jump off the screen in quite literally the best way possible, and the fact that it is just such a fantastic film. You have these action sequences in the film, which are just held so well, and it's so exciting to watch. Like, you feel every single punch in those action sequences in the best way possible. Honestly, there's one action sequence in particular towards the beginning of the film where basically Bond is chasing someone, everything like that, and then they go into a crane and they start fighting each other on this crane, and it's done so well. It's such a fantastically shot action sequence. Honestly, one of the best shot action sequences in the Bond franchise up to this point, definitely. And honestly, when you have David Arnold's fantastic musical score soaring in the background, and by the way, going into the musical score just a sec, David Arnold doesn't actually use the main James Bond theme, you know, do-do-ba-do-do-do, until the end credits of the film. So what you have is a Bond score that is entirely new music. There's barely any uses of the Bond theme, like I said, till the end of the film, and so it's just so fantastic. So when you have David Arnold's fantastic musical score soaring in these fantastic action sequences, which you just sit there on your edge of your seat to smile because it is just so exciting to watch. Honestly, that's what I found when I was watching Casino Royale. And the thing is, though, with that action sequence I was talking about, you know, the one that takes place on the crane and everything like that, towards the beginning of the film, basically, they go off the crane, and the action sequence is still going on. I was like, okay, you're going to lose my interest now, because you've gone off the big set piece there, you've gone off the big crane and everything like that, and now your chase sequence is still continuing. But, because of Martin Campbell's direction, it keeps you interested in that chase sequence. It shouldn't still be interesting, but because of Matt Campbell's direction, it still is. And because of the way he stages the action sequence, it's just so exciting to watch. And honestly, there are so many action sequences like that in the film. There's one sequence in particular where Bond is trying to stop a bomb from getting to a plane so that this big plane will blow up. And it's such an exciting action sequence, honestly, just because of the way Matt Campbell did it all, because of the way he staged it all, because of his execution in those action sequences, and the fact that those action sequences are just, they're so enjoyable to watch. You feel the punches. The filmmaking is so intense, and it's so well edited, and it's so exciting, and honestly, I mean, I'm not someone who loves action in film, but the action sequences in this film were just so brilliant. And at the same time though, let's talk about another thing which is so fantastic about the film, which is all relying on Matt Campbell as well. The whole poker game sequence. Like, the poker game sequence of the film, on the surface, it sounds quite boring. And I must admit, I've never played poker in my life. I don't intend to be honest. I don't really want to get into gambling of any sort. But yeah, I've never played poker in my life, and I don't really understand the game that much. But when we got to the whole poker sequence in the film, I was on the edge of my seat still because of the way Matt Campbell, moved the camera in that sequence, and the way the sequence is edited, and the performance as well. Like, we'll go on to performances a bit later, but Daniel Craig and Mads Mikkelsen, and even Jeffrey Wright for that matter, just in the poker sequences alone, are so brilliant. And honestly, the poker sequences shouldn't be that interesting to watch, but because of the way Matt Campbell directs those poker sequences, they were so interesting to watch. And I just sat there in the poker sequences on the edge of my seat, which I just didn't expect. Like, I've seen poker games in films before, like Molly's Game for that matter, the Alan Sorkin film. That film relies quite a lot on the poker game sequences. And in that film, all the poker stuff kind of lost me. I mean, I quite like Molly's Game, but all the poker stuff in Molly's Game kind of losing me. Kind of losing my interest because it's not that well directed. And if you haven't played poker, it's not that interesting to watch. But in this film, Matt Campbell keeps you interested in the poker game when you really shouldn't be. And that's what I really like about this film. Just Matt Campbell's direction really surprised me in this film. Because the thing is though, Matt Campbell has directed a Bond film before. He directed GoldenEye. And I must admit, I'm not afraid to say this. I didn't like GoldenEye. I thought it was quite a bad Bond film, not gonna lie. But, nevertheless, his direction in this film is so much better than it was in GoldenEye. And that's one of the reasons I was kind of hesitant about watching this film. Like, I've gone back to watching the Bond films now, because, No Time to Die has its release date set in stone now. So No Time to Die is coming out soon. But nevertheless, I'm reviewing the Bond films up to then now. But, basically, I was a bit hesitant to watch Casino Royale for two reasons. First of all, the big reason was the last Bond movie I watched was Die Another Day, and I straight up just didn't like Die Another Day. I mean, I hated it. I thought it was terrible. And at the same time, though, I saw this Bond film was being directed by Matt Campbell. So that was a bit like, because the last Bond film, like I said before, which Matt Campbell directed, was GoldenEye, and I wasn't a fan of GoldenEye. So I went into this film thinking, is it going to be like GoldenEye all over again? And even so, it does have its predictable twists, like GoldenEye does, except one twist actually, which is really unpredictable, which we'll get onto quite shortly in this review. But even so, it does have some predictable twists in there. It's nothing like GoldenEye, in my opinion. It's so well directed. And honestly, I just think Matt Campbell did such a better job with Casino Royale than he did with GoldenEye. And at the same time, though, another thing I absolutely loved about this film was Daniel Craig's terrific performance as James Bond. Honestly, Daniel Craig is now my favourite James Bond, and I've only really seen him in this film. Like, I must admit, I have seen Skyfall and Spectre a long time ago, but I don't really remember those films that much. I'll have to go back and revisit them before I see No Time to Die, because I don't really remember Skyfall or Spectre that much. I remember kind of liking them, but I don't really remember much about them. I remember scenes of them, but that's really it. So, I was watching Casino Royale, kind of like fresh eyes on Daniel Craig's Bond, and honestly, I absolutely love his performance in this film. Daniel Craig's performance as Bond is just so good, and it actually reminded me of Timothy Dalton's performance as Bond as well in The Living Daylights. And I was quite a fan of Timothy Dalton's Bond, actually. He's my second favourite Bond. I don't really like the films he's been in. Like, I'm not really a fan of Living Daylights or License to Kill. I mean, I don't think they're bad films, but I don't think they're great either. But the thing is, though, I love Timothy Dalton's, interpretation as Bond in those films. And Daniel Craig's interpretation as Bond reminded me of Timothy Dalton's interpretation as Bond. Like, in The Living Daylights, Timothy Dalton's Bond, as hard as rock and everything like that. He doesn't always follow the orders. But then, throughout The Living Daylights, though, you see him start to fall in love with the Bond girl in that film. And a similar thing happens with Daniel Craig's Bond in this film as well. And they play it a similar way. Like, at the start of this film, Daniel Craig's Bond is quite rough and everything like that. And he breaks into M's apartment, where he breaks into M's house, and at one stage early on in the film, and he's quite tough and everything. He's someone you don't really want to mess with. But then, as he meets Eva Green's Bond girl, he starts to change and everything, and he starts to get a bit more of a softie. Not necessarily a softie, but you get a point there. He starts becoming more affectionate to Eva Green's Bond girl. Doesn't end well, but he starts getting more affectionate to Eva Green's Bond girl in this one. And it actually reminded me of that relation between Timothy Dalton's Bond and the Bond girl in The Living Daylights. In a good way, by the way. I quite like that aspect of The Living Daylights. So the thing is, though, you get my point. Daniel Craig's performance in this film reminded me of Timothy Dalton's performance in The Living Daylights, which I liked quite a lot. And honestly, I just thought Daniel Craig was brilliant in this film. You feel, like I said, you feel every punch that he takes in the film in the best way possible. And he plays Bond so well. You really do feel like he is the Bond of this era. I really feel like Daniel Craig encapsulated this modern day Bond in the best way possible, and honestly he gave us my favourite performance as Bond up to this point, and bear in mind I've only probably really seen him in one film, and I just thought it was absolutely brilliant, Casino Royale. And at the same time though, another performance which I absolutely loved in this film was Mads Mikkelsen. Like, when I sat down to watch the film, I'm going to admit here, I was slightly anticipating his performance because I now know that Mads Mikkelsen has been cast as the main villain in Indiana Jones 5. So I was slightly anticipating his performance in this film because I was thinking, what's it going to be like? What is it going to be like? And will it give me any clues to what his performance will be like in Indiana Jones 5? Which, by the way, is my most anticipated movie for the next 2 years. Honestly, I can't wait for Indiana Jones 5. But when I heard he was cast as a villain in Indiana Jones 5, it got me interested to see his interpretation of the villain in Casino Royale. I'm not saying the two villains will be similar, but they might be at the same time though. But honestly, I really like Mads Mikkelsen as a villain in this film. Honestly, I just thought he was absolutely brilliant. And the scenes between him and Daniel Craig, whether it's the poker game scenes or the torture scene, by the way. Oh my god, the torture scene was just so brilliant between those two characters. Honestly, it's just the way that Daniel Craig plays in that scene and the way that Mads Mikkelsen plays as well. They're just both brilliant in the film, and that torture scene alone is so fantastic. It just keeps you on the edge of your seat. And I just thought Mads Mikkelsen was absolutely brilliant in the film. He's got me very excited to see his performance in Indiana Jones 5, not gonna lie. At the same time though, one thing I actually loved about Mads Mikkelsen's big bad Bond villain was what they did with that character. Now, I am going to give away a big spoiler for Casino Royale here, so if you haven't watched Casino Royale, please do turn away now, because here's your spoiler warning. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. Basically, towards the end of the second act of this film, they end up killing Mads Mikkelsen's big bad Bond villain off. Yes, half an hour before the film ends, or probably even more than that actually, they kill off the main Bond villain. And honestly, I just sat there on the edge of my seat shocked. I was like, wow, I didn't see that coming. Honestly, gets shot in the head just after the torture scene, literally at the end of the torture scene, which is still so brilliant, by the way, such a brilliant scene, but just at the end of that scene, you're on the edge of your seat already, and then you just kind of sit there with your jaw dropped, like, oh my god, I didn't see that coming, but you know what? I absolutely love that, and that's how I felt when I watched Mads Mikkelsen's character, Mads Mikkelsen's big bad Bond villain, die in that scene. I was like, oh, that is so different and so daring. And honestly, it got me so excited to see where the film was going. I didn't think the rest of the film was as good as that whole second act. I thought the whole second act of the film was the best. Even so, I didn't think the rest of the film was as good. I loved what they did with that character, and I just thought that was so brilliant. And it's also different for the Bond franchise as well. Honestly, Mads Mikkelsen as a big bad Bond villain, he's so brilliant, and he's now one of my favourite villains in the Bond franchise, and I can't wait to see him in Indiana Jones 5 now. And at the same time though, Eva Green's great as a Bond girl in the film. Probably not my favourite Bond girl, but she's really good to watch in the film, and I really liked the way she played her character. I just wish I felt that her relationship with Daniel Craig's Bond was a bit more realistic, I'm not gonna lie, but I still enjoyed watching Eva Green in the film. I think she did a good job with the role she was given. And at the same time though, I also really liked watching Jeffrey Wright as Felix in the film. I'm a huge fan of Jeffrey Wright. I can't wait to see him in the new Batman film coming out like March next year now, and I'm also a fan of him in Westworld as well, which he plays quite a key character in Westworld. And I think his performance in this film was great as well, and I've heard that he's in more of the Daniel Craig Bond films. Like I said, I don't really know, I can't remember Spectre or Skyfall, and haven't seen Quantum of Solace yet, so I can't really comment on that. But I'm excited to see if his character returns in those later films as well, and I really liked Jeffrey Wright in this film. And at the same time though, it was also nice to see Tobias Menzies in there. Tobias Menzies had a small role in this film, and he'd like later gone on to play, Prince Philip in the latest 2 seasons of The Crown. He was also in the TV show The Terror, which I saw recently, which I didn't really like that much, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really like The Terror that much, but I quite liked him in The Terror, and I quite liked him in this film as well. I thought he was really good when he was in there. Kind of a nice surprise as well, just seeing a young Tobias Menzies in there. And at the same time though, it was also great to see Judi Dench as M once again in this film. And I'm gonna admit, I liked the performance more in this film than I did in Die Another Day. And she's actually one of the parts I liked about Die Another Day. The thing is though, in this film, her performance was a bit more subtle and actually kind of more interesting in my opinion. I really liked Judi Dench as M in this film, but the little time she was in there, but she kind of stole the show in her own, like, Judi Dench way in this film, which I really liked about it. And honestly, I just thought it was actually fantastic. David had a fantastic musical score for this film, which is so good. And the fact that the main James Bond theme, that iconic James Bond theme, isn't actually used to the end credits of the film, which is just so good. Or the fact that the opening Bond song is great as well. I don't love the Bond song for the film, but it was good as well, though. One of the better Bond songs I've heard for a long time. Definitely better than the song for Die Another Day. Christ, that movie has a bad Bond song, but nevertheless, I really like the Bond song in this film. And at the same time, the opening of the film. The opening of the film is absolutely fantastic. Honestly, I love the way the film opens. opens, like it's all black and white and everything, and this is the way it's shot. The cinematography film is absolutely brilliant, by the way, but just the way the opening scene is shot, it's all black and white, and they burst into colour with the opening credits and everything. I just loved that the Bond film opened like that. It was so different just in the opening of the film alone, and honestly, I just thought it was actually fantastic. Is it my favourite Bond? No. But is it one of my favourite Bonds? Yes, definitely. Honestly, it's up there with one of my Secret Service for me, The Spy Who Loved Me, and From Russia With Love as well. Honestly, I really enjoyed this film. Far more than I thought I was going to. Like I said, I wasn't a fan of GoldenEye, which is Mark Campbell's last Bond film, and yet I'm a huge fan of this one. Honestly, Daniel Craig's first Bond film knocks it out of the park. He's great as Bond. He's now my favourite Bond after only really watching him properly in one film. Mads Mikkelsen's great as well. Eva Green's great in there. Wright's great in there. Judi Dench is great in there, and so on and so on and so on. I can't wait to see more Daniel Craig Bond films now, although Haircut and Solace isn't actually that good. But nevertheless, I really like this film. The action sequences were actually brilliant in my opinion, and it's a really good film. Far better on the execution of the film. Like, I don't really think the plot is that good in itself, but I think the execution's there. I think the action sequences burst off the screen in the best way possible, and I just think this film is so exciting to watch, with a brilliant musical score, with terrific performances, and honestly, I just had such an enjoyable time in this film. Honestly, I really did. And so, all in all, I'm going to say the Casino Royale, I'm going to say it's an 8.5 out of 10. Honestly, I thought this movie was absolutely fantastic. I mean, I did have a bit of hesitation watching this film because, you know, the last Bond film that Mark Campbell directed was GoldenEye. And even so, I didn't like GoldenEye, everyone else seems to. So I thought I was going to have the same reaction to this film where everyone else seems to love Casino Royale and maybe I wouldn't. But I did in the end. I sat there from, you know, start to finish with a huge grin on my face. Just the way it was different, the twists that were in there, and just how exciting the filmmaking was and how exciting the action sequences were in this film, and the fact that it just felt like a Bond film in the best way possible. It did feel like Martin Campbell, you know, before he made this film, sat down and said, I'm just going to make a Bond film in the way I want to, just complete outright Bond film and everywhere that I want to, and that's what he succeeded on in the best way possible. Honestly, I really do think he made such a brilliant Bond film, and it has terrific performances in there, and absolutely fantastic music score yet again from David Arnold, and just, it's so much fun to watch. Honestly, it really is. I enjoy myself far more than I thought I was going to, and I just think it's absolutely brilliant. And so, all in all, I'm going to say that Casino Royale, I'm going to say that's an 8.5 out of 10 from me. Anyway guys, what do you think of Casino Royale? Please do comment down below and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Anyway guys, I'm back to reviewing the Bond films right now, so what's my next Bond film review, which will be Quantum of Solace, coming quite soon on this channel. Anyway guys, thank you as always for watching, and if you haven't yet, please do click down below and like, subscribe on this video, and look forward to many more, both film and TVs, coming very soon on this channel. See you guys again soon, but bye for now, bye!